One T. One T. One T. One. One T.
Gualwyn.
Uh,
So testing labor to the station with the yes, I mean.
uh,
Maybe dinner or something, then get about test if it's playing.
okay. Like, baku praba ile kama. Alright.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Hello? Hello? One.
One, two.
Thank you very much. May I request members of the moment of silence for prayer and meditation? Thank you very much. Leaders. Honorable members and Levi Babona Balete Kazemo, may I take this opportunity to welcome all of you. Let me just acknowledge the following people who are present in the house today. Amongst our list we have Morena Muteni Togwan, Commissioner from the IEC, Major Love, Provincial Head of Standard Bank and your entourage, from the Office of Auditor General in the Free State, Honorable District Mayor of Harare, Nema Sihanga, mayors, executive mayors, and speakers of local municipalities, members of audit committees from different entities, including government and local government, representatives from public entities. We also have been joined by learners from different schools around Harare. Before we proceed to the business of the day, I wish to inform the House that I have informed all honorable members of the place and time of today's sitting, that the provincial budget will be tabled here at the Harib Dam. The information was communicated in terms of Section 110, subsection 3 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa of 1996. Honorable members, business of the House today is to afford the Honorable MEC for Finance to table the provincial annual budget for the year 2019-2020 as required by Section 27, subsection 2 of the Public Finance Management Act number 1 of 1996. I will then now proceed to motions. I will request the Secretary to read motion 1. Thank you very much, Secretary. May I then take this opportunity and request the House to welcome the MEC of Finance, Mayor Rockman. Honorable Rockman. Where are the mics?
Speaker, I move.
Thank you very much. Any discussion on the matter? Therefore, is approved. The MEC may then table the second special adjustment appropriation bill B3 2019. Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. The Secretary will now read the bill for the first time. Thank you very much, Secretary. The Honorable MEC may present introductory remarks on the bill. Honorable Rockman.
Thank you, Speaker. Deputy Speaker. Last week or 2 weeks ago when we tabled the special adjustment appropriation bill We indicated the intention of fleet management entity, which is under Department of Police, Roads and Transport, to donate certain vehicles to municipalities. And we indicated that we will be tabling this bill to enable that donation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. What does the Honorable MEC propose?
That the bill be referred to the Public Accounts and Finance Committee for consideration.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. Any discussion on the matter? Any objection? Therefore, is approved. The bill stands referred to the Committee on Public Accounts and Finance. We'll then proceed to motion 2. I will then request the Secretary to read motion 2.
That leave be granted for the tabling of the appropriation bill B2 of 2019.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC Rockman.
Deputy Speaker, I move.
Thank you very much, MEC. Any discussion on the matter? Therefore, is approved. Our Honorable MEC may table the appropriation bill B2 2019. Thank you very much, MEC. I will then call again the Secretary to read the bill for the first time.
Appropriation B2 2019.
Thank you very much, Secretary. The opportunity is now given to the MEC to address the House. MEC Rockman.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honorable Premier, members of the Executive, members of the Legislature, our Executive Mayors and Mayoral Committee members, Morimoholo Mupedi, Principal Traditional Leader, and our other traditional leaders, Director General, our HODs, Chairpersons and CEOs of our entities, distinguished guests. I also wish to make special mention of the educators and learners from the schools who participated in our annual essay competition. They represent the St. Bernard Secondary School from Bloemfontein, Peritona Secondary School from Heilbron, Chichava Samaketse Combined School from Botshabelo, Wongoletu Secondary School in Betuli, and the Relebohili Sibulele Secondary School in Smithfield. We appreciate the opportunity to table the Free State Provincial Budget for 2019-20 as we approach the end of the 5th administration. This year we again have the opportunity to strengthen and defend our democracy through our participation in the national and provincial elections scheduled to take place on the 8th of May. Each of us has a role to play in ensuring the success of this year's elections. The electoral season inspires ordinary citizens to escalate their participation in our democratic processes, starting from voter registration, updating of voter registration details, and up to casting their votes. The thousands of volunteers who work tirelessly on the election campaigns of political parties are the modern-day heroes of our democracy in action. Equally so are the men and the women of the Electoral Commission of South Africa, who are tasked to ensure that the environment and infrastructure are in place to facilitate free and fair elections. Let us all publicly commit to ensure that we support the work of the Electoral Commission. Honourable Deputy Speaker, certain developments in the local government sphere also require our attention today. We welcome the appointment of the new Municipal Demarcation Board last week. The Free State is well represented in the board through Mr. Tabu Manyoni, who will be the chairperson, as well as Dr. David Muali. These individuals have the required knowledge and experience to ensure that the board executes its mandate. Allow me to also congratulate the Honourable Matabu Lehetu on her election as the President of the South African National Civics Organisation over the past weekend. The voice of SANCU as an effective and vibrant reflection of civic society is essential in our democracy. Today we return to the Gariep district to fulfill the commitment that we made in 2017 when we first presented our provincial budget speech here. We indicated then that the provincial budget speech will be hosted here until the end of the 5th administration. This decision was not the result of some sentimental idiosyncrasy towards Gariep. We recognize that the Gariep district traditionally holds the smallest share of the provincial budget. The dynamics of this district, specifically its huge geographical area, low population numbers, and its exposure to climatic conditions, are key contributing factors to the stubborn prevalence of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. Its potential in economic sectors such as tourism, solar energy, and agriculture remain largely unexplored. We therefore intentionally put Gariep in the forefront of the conscience of decision makers when it comes to resource allocations and implementation of departmental mandates. During the recent State of the Nation address and the State of the Province address, the Honourable President and the Honourable Premier respectively reflected on the successes and shortcomings of our first 25 years of democratic governance. The 5th administration has demanded a focused effort to implement our commitment to meaningfully improve the lives of our people whilst the availability of resources have continued to decline.
Ereke udumedise momamedi wa seyalemoya sa hao sa selehae hohle mo ka tswang o mametse sena seyalemoya letsatsing la kajeno ya udumedisang a sentsa ho hotla ka letsoho le mofutu ke Mokoena champion mohlophehi ke udumedisa jwalo ka nnete ke a tshepa le dumela hore o natefetswe ke letsatsi la kajeno maemo a lehodimo lona dumetse ke udumedisa ke le Gariep Dam ka hare ho masepala wa Gariep kwano Freistata le baka le ntseng hore re be kwano letsatsing la kajeno ke hona ho tlo utlwa puo ya ditekanyetso provinseng ya Freistata bakeng sa selemo sena sa 2019 le 2020 ke bua le wena tjena re tlo fetela ka hare letsatsing la kajeno hore ke re utlwe hore ka nnete mme Elizabeth Rockman e leng yena mme a tlo re fa puisano tsatsing la kajeno o di tshwere ka tsela le mokgwa mofuta o feng hopola ke hasa ka kotloloho ebile ke mametswe seyalemoyeng tse fapaneng tse 10 ka hara Freistata e leng seyalemoya sa Motheo FM, CUT FM, Musupatsela FM, Dihlabeng FM, Mozolo FM, The Rock FM, Sitsoto FM, Naledi FM, Kwa Radio le lentswe FM. Hohle mo leng teng tsatsing la kajeno ke re dula le rona re dule le wena letsatsing la kajeno hore re tle gone re tlo utlwa puisano ena ya mme Elizabeth Rockman bakeng sa letsatsi la kajeno. A re fetele ka hare e be he re utlwe re puisano e tswela pele ka tsela la mokgwa mofuta o feng. Dumela.
To 3.5% in 2019. The South African economy remained under severe pressure, as was evidenced by the technical recession experienced in the second quarter of last year. Multiple initiatives implemented by national government, including the Investment Summit and Job Summit, contributed to reversing the technical recession. National economic growth is projected at about 1.5% in 2019. A modest increase from the recorded growth rate of 0.7% in 2018. It is anticipated that the economic stimulus and recovery plan will contribute significantly to accelerate national economic growth. Key elements of this plan include the implementation of growth-enhancing economic reforms, addressing urgent matters in education and health, and investing in municipal social infrastructure improvement. The provincial economic outlook is reflected in the economic performance as well as the socio-economic and labour market dynamics of the Free State. Some of the most significant of these provincial indicators are the following. The Free State contribution to the national gross domestic product has remained stagnant at 5% between 2014 and 2017. The province experienced a dramatic decline in the primary industries of agriculture and mining between 2009 to 2017. The secondary industries of manufacturing, electricity and construction remained almost stagnant, while a marginal increase in the tertiary industries were recorded during the same period. The Free State unemployment rate was recorded at 32.9% at the end of the fourth quarter in 2018, with unemployment amongst women being substantially higher at 36.5% than amongst men at 29.9%. The provincial youth unemployment rate at above 50% continues to be higher than the other age groups throughout the country, irrespective of education levels. Of particular concern is that we have seen an increase in the share of people in the Free State living below the food poverty line of 547 rand per month over the 4-year period between 2014 to 2017. In 2019, the Free State economy is projected to recover marginally and to grow by 0.9%. The growth is expected to be supported mainly by the transport, agriculture and finance sectors. These sectors are, however, also vulnerable to a number of external factors such as fluctuating prices of crude oil and fuel and climate conditions. These 3 industries are also projected to provide the highest average growth rates over the forthcoming MTF period. The marginal growth rate of 0.9% is not sufficient to substantially address the socio-economic challenges of our province. The development of the Provincial Economic Recovery and Stimulus Plan has been initiated by Provincial Treasury, with all other departments and provincial entities contributing to the initiative. It contextualizes the key elements of the national plan to the prevailing socio-economic dynamics of the Free State, with particular reference to the following: research-based policy interventions in agriculture, mining and manufacturing, labor-intensive policies and programs with specific reference to implementation models for infrastructure development, escalating our initiatives to attract foreign and local direct investment in the Free State, including the Maluti-Apufung Special Economic Zone, ensuring the optimal utilization of the revitalized industrial parks in Putarichaba and Botshabelo upon completion, and maximizing the tourism potential of the province. The next administration will also undertake a further review of the Free State Growth and Development Strategy, which is our policy framework aligned with the National Development Plan and Vision 2030. On the 2019 fiscal framework, Honourable Deputy Speaker, the provincial fiscal framework for 2019-20 continues to be predominantly characterized by the requirements of fiscal consolidation and sustainability. The Free State is allocated 119.099 billion rand over the MTF as follows: 32.274 billion in 2019-20, 39.593 billion in 2020-2021, and 42.232 billion in the outer financial year. The 6 fundamental prescripts of the national budget set out by the Honourable Minister of Finance during the national budget speech are equally applicable but contextualized to speak to the dynamics of the Free State. These prescripts include achieving a higher rate of economic growth, increasing tax collection, though the provincial dynamic will focus on maximizing the collection of provincial own revenue and propagating for the payment of municipal services, rates and taxes by all those who can afford to do so. Reasonable and affordable expenditure, specifically to prioritize our spending according to needs and impact. Stabilizing and reducing provincial debt, specifically to reduce our accruals and payables at the end of each financial year. Managing the public wage sector bill, and continuing to monitor and review the efficiencies of the reconfigured provincial public entities. The provincial fiscal envelope is required to provide for the implementation of the 2018 Public Sector Wage Agreement. This results in the continued need to further reprioritize existing funds, to proactively manage the expanding provincial wage bill, and to redirect savings towards key priorities. I will briefly outline each of the province's revenue streams. On equitable share, our provincial equitable share grows at an average rate of 7.4% over the MTF. The total equitable share allocation of the Free State amounts to 90.936 billion, with an allocation of 28.187 billion next year, 30.338 billion and 32.411 billion rand in 2020 and 2021 and 2021-22 respectively. Included in the above allocations are specific earmarked funds amounting to 194.713 million rand. These are earmarked funds for specific projects, including the upscaling of the Sanitary Dignity Project in the Department of Education, funding for Cuban doctors in the Department of Health, municipal interventions for municipalities under Section 139, and building infrastructure monitoring capacity within Provincial Treasury, as well as specific projects related to the Department of Social Development. On conditional grants, Deputy Speaker, the Free State is allocated 24.418 billion rand for conditional grants over the forthcoming MTF period. The allocation for 2019-20 amounts to 7.863 billion, and for the outer two financial years, 7.985 billion and 8.570 billion respectively. These allocations represent an average growth of 4.2% over the MTF period. There are a number of changes to conditional grants that affect various of our provincial departments. These are summarized as follows. In the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, it's the CASP grant. The CASP allocations has reduced over the MTF to fund the following: the establishment of a food and mouth disease facility by the Agriculture Research Council, and redirected funding to the Land Bank for the implementation of a new blended finance mechanism developed to leverage both government and private funds to extend more affordable credit to black farmers. The Free State's allocation for CASP has reduced with 11.103 million for 2019-20 to 168.373 million. The reduction in the outer 2 years amounts to 6.165 million and 2.791 million respectively. With the Department of Education, additional funding is allocated towards the school's infrastructure backlog grant over the MTF period to address the challenges of pit latrines in the education sector throughout the country. This is also an indirect conditional grant. The Free State Department of Education will receive 77.466 million in 2019-20, 32 and 52 million in the outer years for the eradication of pit latrines in the province. Our Department of Education has qualified to receive the Infrastructure Performance-Based Incentive Grant for the second consecutive year. The department will receive 188.071 million for the incentive component for education infrastructure grant for the next financial year. The total amount therefore for Free State for education infrastructure grant amounts to 833.485 million rand. In health, Deputy Speaker, there are reforms to 2 grants in the health sector, namely the comprehensive HIV, AIDS and TB grant and the health infrastructure grant. Changes to the HIV, AIDS and TB grant relates to the inclusion of a malaria component for provinces affected by malaria outbreaks. The Free State does not benefit from the malaria component of the grant. The tuberculosis component of the grant will now be a standalone component, allowing for effective monitoring and evaluation of spending and outcomes. The Free State receives 29.459 million in the next financial year for this component, and it increases respectively to 31.079 and 32.788 million in the outer 2 years. The health infrastructure grant, however, has been reduced for all provinces. The Free State's allocation for this grant reduces with 77.649 million to 498.713 million for the new financial year in comparison to the current financial year. In human settlements, the changes to conditional grants of the Department of Human Settlements relate to the Title Deeds Restoration Grant and the Human Settlements Development Grant. The Title Deeds Restoration Grant comes to an end in 2020-21 and will be phased back into the HSDG baseline. A total of 950 million was moved out of the HSDG towards the National Housing Finance Corporation for the Finance-Linked Individual Subsidy Scheme, FLISP. This move is aimed at improving coordination and support to targeted individuals. As a result of this, the Free State receives 18.310 million rand less for this component of the HSDG. Within the Human Settlements Development Grant, there is a new window created in 2019-20 which requires that 15% of the grant must be spent on the upgrading of informal settlements. In Police Roads Transport, Deputy Speaker, the Provincial Roads Maintenance Grant has been reduced by an amount of 119.5 million rand. The Free State, however, receives a marginal increase of 40.535 million in respect of the Provincial Road Maintenance Grant for 2019-20 in comparison to the current financial year. On the Expanded Public Works Program Integrated Grant, and the social sector EPWP incentive grant for provinces. Allocations to EPWP programs across all provinces have been reduced by 41.8 million over the MTF. The 2019-20 allocation to the Free State is thus reduced by 6.872 million when compared to the current financial year, and the reductions include both the social and integrated EPWP grants. Deputy Speaker, the reductions in conditional grants reminds us of the African proverb that says, no matter the economy of the jungle, the lion will never eat grass. Our fiscal environment calls upon our strength and resilience to ensure that we continue to rise above our fiscal challenges. On provincial-owned revenue, this is an indispensable source through which we augment the provincial fiscal envelope. On average, our provincial revenue has maintained an annual growth rate of 5.5% over the last 5 financial years. We have benchmarked our respective tariff structures to ensure that we remain competitive in the national market. In the MTF ahead, the province projects to raise its provincial-owned revenue as follows: 1.225 billion in 2019-20, rising to 1.270 and 1.251 billion in the respective outer years. The Department of Police, Roads and Transport continues to be our main contributor to provincial-owned revenue through motor vehicle licenses and other associated revenue items. The department is developing further revenue enhancement proposals that will further enhance our provincial revenue base. We fully support and welcome the reintroduction of game auctions by DSTIA. The most recent game auction in February this year raised an additional 10 million rand for our revenue fund. Provincial Treasury initiated a review of projects and programs funded through the Provincial Revenue Enhancement Allocation since we introduced this in 2011. The review is aimed at ensuring that we maximize our investment in programs that have proven to offer us a substantial return on investment. Our preliminary findings confirm that the best return on investment we receive is through the programs we funded in the Department of Police, Roads and Transport, specifically the upgrade of our testing stations and our increased capacity in debt management. The review process will enable us to make informed recommendations to the Executive Council to adjust revenue enhancement as and when required. Deputy Speaker, on the 2019 MTF allocations to provincial departments. The provincial budget we present today is the result of an extensive engagement process that informs the development of the annual budget. Our fiscal environment necessitates that we critically evaluate and review our resource allocation decisions. In addition, we recognize the imperative to address some of the perpetual fiscal challenges that characterize our environment. The budget for the first year of the 2019 MTF focuses on fiscal consolidation and the financial sustainability of provincial government. It creates the foundation for the fiscal space we require to enable future adjustments and reorganization. Cost containment measures and the management of the public wage bill will remain in place. The early voluntary retirement from public service initiative will assist us to contain the wage bill. It will enable us in the outer years of the medium-term period to substantially address some of our prevailing fiscal challenges. Whilst addressing the imperatives of fiscal consolidation and financial sustainability, it is our belief that this budget also creates the enabling environment within which economic development and infrastructure-led growth can take place. We strengthen support to our social sector departments such as education, health and social development. Our support for youth advancement initiatives cuts across all provincial departments. All of these objectives can only be achieved through good and effective governance practices. In addition, our departments charged with ensuring good and effective governance are enabled to exercise their monitoring, oversight and coordination roles. I will now focus on the 2019 MTF proposed allocations to provincial departments. The details of the allocations are set out in the 2019-20 estimates of provincial revenue and expenditure, as well as the 2019-20 appropriation bill. The social sector. The Departments of Education, Health, Social Development and Sport, Arts, Culture and Recreation is allocated approximately 75.8% of the total provincial allocation over the 3-year MTF period. On education, Deputy Speaker, Our commitment to the provision of quality education remains at the core of government. There is no better example that illustrates the truth that working together we can do more than our provincial education family. This family, comprising of the managers, educators, administrators, unions, learners, parents, private sector partners and non-governmental organizations, have united behind a common vision of excellence. We salute the contribution of each and every one of these stakeholders in the successes of the Free State Department of Education. Honorable Magwe, our vision for education must echo the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., that the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. The department is allocated the total amount of 47.677 billion over the MTF as follows: 14.733 billion in 2019-20, 15.873 billion in 2020-21, and 17.071 billion in the outer financial year. The following matters should be highlighted in the budget of Department of Education. The function of learner transport, together with the budget, shifts back to the Department of Education from the Department of Police, Roads and Transport. The function of early childhood development centers in respect of grade RR and grade R shifts from the Department of Social Development to the Department of Education. The budget shift relating to this will be done as part of the adjustment appropriation process during November this year. An additional amount of 74.379 million is allocated towards compensation of employees in education to begin to address the perpetual overspending on this budget item during the forthcoming financial year. Further allocations of 149.280 million and 282.503 million are also added to compensation of employees in the 2 outer years of the MTF. In total, over the 2019 MTF, we are therefore allocating an additional amount of 506.168 million to address the critical challenges we have been experiencing with over-expenditure on COE in the Department of Education. The funding is made available through additional funding received from national government, as well as a 2% top slicing of the budgets of some of other provincial departments. Earmarked funding of 13.881 million is set aside for the Sanitary Dignity Project to affirm our commitment that no female learner should miss school due to limited access to sanitary needs. The budget allocation of the department continues to fund norms and standards in our schools, learner-teacher support material, the education management information system, support to school hostels, the matric support program, provision for exemption of school fees, school connectivity, and school infrastructure, including maintenance. We also welcome the partnership between the department and Old Mutual, who will be sponsoring institutional leadership training for principals, vice principals, and HODs in schools in the amount of 4.5 million rand per year for a 3-year period. The Department of Health. The Economic Stimulus and Recovery Plan will address urgent matters in the health sector. These matters relate to necessities in hospitals such as beds and linen, as well as the funding of critical medical posts, including nurses and interns. Honorable Tsiu, let us never forget the teachings of the Arab proverb that he who has health has hope, and he who has hope has everything. The department will spend more than 35.877 billion over the 2019 MTF period. The 2019 budget responds to the identified key sector priorities, and the allocation of the department is disaggregated as follows: 11.142 billion in 2019-20, 11.946 billion in 2020-21, and 12.789 billion in 2021-22. We remain cognizant of the work that still needs to be done in strengthening the value chain of our health system. Though notable strides have been made with the implementation of the National Health Insurance in the province, more still needs to be done to ensure that our health system is effective and responsive. We will continue to pay particular attention to the provision and maintenance of proper infrastructure and ICT systems, adequate and innovative staff, as well as the strengthening of management at facility levels. We shall never tire to encourage the health sector to leverage on technology to maximize efficiencies in the system. Over the MTF, the budget makes provision for, amongst others, medicine and medical supplies, including antiretroviral treatment and children's vaccines, the NHLS and blood supply and services, food services, infrastructure and non-infrastructure maintenance, international bursaries in the fields of medicine and related professions, and emergency medical services. The department will be strengthening its internal capacity through increasing the number of departmental ambulances and paramedics. Honourable Speaker, as part of our Tuma Mina campaign in Treasury, we visited Rouville in the Mokari local municipality late last year. As a result of that visit, we have agreed with the Department of Health to expedite and finalize the construction of the Rouville Clinic during the 2019-20 financial year through massification and the EPWP program. On social development, Deputy Speaker, in his address to the campaign to make poverty history, former President Mandela cautioned that as long as poverty, injustice and gross inequality persist in our world, none of us can truly rest. Our Department of Social Development leads the initiatives of the provincial government aimed at the most vulnerable sectors of our society, including women, children and youth, the elderly and the disabled. We also acknowledge that the month of March is celebrated as Social Workers Month, and the 19th of March is celebrated as World Social Work Day. It is appropriate that we pay tribute to the critical role that social workers play as they help families and individuals confront, cope with and overcome challenges. The department's budget allocation amounts to 1.375 billion in 2019-20, 1.428 billion in 2020-21 and 1.492 billion in 2021-22. The budget allocation of the department is also characterized by a number of changes. This includes earmarked funding in the amount of 85.090 million over the MTF period. The earmarked funds relate to the shifting of the food relief function to provinces and the conversion of two grants to equitable share funding, namely the Social Worker Grant and the Substance Abuse Treatment Centre Grant. As indicated earlier, the function of ECDs in respect of Grade RR and Grade R shifts to the Department of Education, whilst we will address the shifting of the budget during the adjustment appropriation process. We also confirm that the ECD subsidy increases from 15 Rand per child per day to 17 Rand per child per day for 264 days a year. In general, the 2019 budget caters for the sector priorities of ECDs and partial care, Office on the Rights of Children, victim empowerment, sanitary towel initiatives, statutory services rendered by our NGOs and the maintenance of facilities. The implementation of the Nawongo judgment remains a national sector challenge. It is crucial that we expedite the completion of the Substance Abuse Treatment Centre in Botshabelo during the new financial year, and we will be working closely with the Departments of Social Development and Public Works and Infrastructure to finalize this project. Allow me also, Deputy Speaker, to wish Honourable Kumpela a speedy recovery. On sport, arts, culture and recreation, the department must deliver on a very diverse mandate within a limited fiscal environment. Its developmental and nurturing role is counterbalanced by continuous calls for support to various professional bodies in the sport, recreation and creative sectors. In addition, the department must fulfill its responsibilities towards our provincial libraries, language, heritage and archive functions, and to develop appropriate infrastructure facilities. We also expect the department to play a leading role to build and promote social cohesion and social integration. The department is allocated 2.338 billion over the 2019 MTF as follows: 753.543 million in the next financial year, 776.049 million in the middle year of the MTF, and 807.938 million in the outer year. There is an urgent need for our local government sector and communities to play a far more active role in protecting the infrastructure, facilities and equipment that have been developed across the province. The vandalization of sport facilities and theft of equipment is an alarming trend that needs to be eradicated. In addition to the standard budget programs, the budget also provides for the completion of the Fizili Derby Stadium and the Wepener Library. Budget provision has also been made to commence with the renovation of the Charles Mopedi Stadium in Kwakwa. Honorable Leetu, we continue to be inspired by the words of the former President of the Congo, Patrice Lumumba, who says, "The day will come when history will speak. Africa will write its own history, and it will be a history of glory and dignity." On economic and the infrastructure cluster, Deputy Speaker, investment in infrastructure is key for economic growth and job creation. The 2019 MTF allocations respond to the directives of the National Development Plan and thus strive to create inclusive economic growth through infrastructure development. The economic and infrastructure cluster will spend more than 23.462 billion rand over the 2019 MTF. On human settlements, the Department of Human Settlements will spend more than 4.304 billion implementing its key sector priorities in the upcoming MTF. Honorable Kotse, the people of Madagascar advise that we should move like a chameleon, keep one eye on the past and the other on the future. This will undoubtedly help us focus on completing outstanding work from previous years while pursuing the new targets that we have to meet. The following allocations will be spent over the next 3 financial years: 1.410 billion in 2019-20, 1.424 billion in 2020-21, and 1.470 billion in 2021-22. The department is mainly funded through conditional grants, namely the Human Settlements Development Grant, the Title Deeds Restoration Grant, and EPWP Grant. The changes in this grant framework have already been outlined. In the coming MTF, the Title Deed Restoration Program, together with the delivery of quality human settlement, is expected to be fast-tracked to improve the living conditions and to restore the dignity of our people. On public works and infrastructure, infrastructure development as a direct and indirect catalyst to support economic growth and job creation remains one of the pillars of our provincial economic recovery and stimulus plan. The department will spend a total amount of 5.751 billion rand over 2019 MTF, which is disaggregated as follows: 1.803 billion in the coming financial year, 1.930 and 2.018 billion in the 2 outer years. Given the unique role of the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, we expect more work opportunities to be created through infrastructure-related projects over the MTF. Honorable Kotse, we know the practical value of the African proverb that says, "When deeds speak, words are nothing." We remain resolute in our effort to strengthen the implementation and monitoring of our expanded public works programs. Our internal professional capacity in the Department of Public Works has significantly improved over the last few years. This will strengthen the department's ability to develop, implement and monitor infrastructure development projects on behalf of the various provincial client departments. The 2019 budget also makes provision for payments of municipal services and property rates and taxes, as well as the Township Revitalization and Contractor Development Program. The function and budget relating to the implementation of biometrics in provincial government-owned buildings is shifted from the Department of Police, Roads and Transport to the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. Provision is also made for the fees of transaction advice required for the Free State Provincial Government Building and the Legislature Precinct. This department will also dispose of non-strategic assets and acquire certain other new strategic assets. On police, roads and transport, the execution of the multiple mandates that fall within the ambit of the Department of Police, Roads and Transport is supported with a budget allocation of 2.889 billion for the new financial year, 2.886 billion in 2020-21, and 3.046 billion in the last financial year of the MTF period. The budget allocation of the department is affected by a number of function shifts, including learner transport and biometrics, respectively from education to education and public works and infrastructure. But the department is also the recipient of function shifts, together with the relevant budget, of transport economists and the Harry Smith Logistics Hub from the Office of the Premier. The budget for the purchase of firefighting equipment has been transferred from the Department of Kokta, but the allocation of equipment will remain the responsibility of Kokta. The fiscal position of the department's fleet management trading entity will benefit from the donation of the identified white fleet to municipalities currently using it. This is the enabling legislation we tabled today. The entity will be disposing of 247 units of white fleet with a current book value of 11.593 million to the 9 affected municipalities. We anticipate to derive an annual cost saving of 110.4 million per year for the operational costs of these vehicles. The provision of a sustainable provincial road network and related infrastructure is a critical part of our plan to stimulate economic growth and to create jobs. The completion of various regional roads will be directly beneficial not only for commuter transport, but will also benefit the rural economy. The recently delivered State of the Province address outlined some of the key programs that will be implemented over the 2019 MTF. It includes, amongst others, the construction of roads, intensifying the fight against crime and gangsterism, the creation of job opportunities through EPWP initiatives, and infrastructure development. The budget allocation also provides for support to public transport operators, revenue collection, and the procurement of firefighting equipment. As the main contributor to provincial-owned revenue, we maintain the principle that Treasury should augment the baseline budget to match the actual expenditure that the department incurs in respect of the post office and cash in transit activities. If necessary, further adjustments in this regard will be made during the adjustment appropriation process. Honourable Mashinini, the department, together with the relevant law enforcement agencies, have consistently been reducing the burden of crime on our communities. Let us benefit from the wisdom of the proverb that teaches us not to lose focus and to suffer because we focused on the snake and we missed the scorpion. On agriculture and rural development, Deputy Speaker, Honourable Malakwani will have a particular appreciation for the sentiments expressed by the former President of Burkina Faso, Thomas Sankara, that he who feeds you controls you. Funding allocated to the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development comprises of 821.354 million in 2019-20, 871.396 million in 2020-21, and 916.891 million in 2021-22. The Free State agricultural sector will remain vulnerable to the effects of climate change. The Executive Council declared a drought disaster on 30 January this year in terms of the Disaster Management Act of 2002. Approval was granted for the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development to utilize 13.5 million in the current financial year on drought relief projects. The funds will be used for the drilling and development of 45 boreholes and the restoration of 35 earth dams. The budget makes provision for key provincial priorities, including land care programs, support and training of farmers, veterinary services, Mohoma Mobung programs such as mechanization, livestock, aquaculture project, boiler productions and processing, as well as infrastructure investment. The Vrede Dairy project is now managed directly by the Department of Agriculture, and farm operations will be funded through our equitable share funding. The department will also be commemorating the centenary of Glen Agricultural College through a number of initiatives this year. On Destia, Deputy Speaker, the department's mandate places it at the centre of the provincial government's socio-economic development and transformation agenda. It extends to the development, regulation and support of economic and small business development, tourism and the protection and management of the environment. Honourable Maasa, during these challenging fiscal times, we benefit from the wisdom of the first female Prime Minister of Mozambique, Luisa Diogo, who reminds us that it is no country's destiny to be poor. The budget allocation of Destia over the 2019 MTF is as follows: 630.925 million for 2019-20, 661.348 million for the middle financial year of the MTF period, and 684.981 million for the last year. The budget includes provision for environmental programs, programs in support of radical economic transformation, waste management, revitalization of provincial resorts, and support to SMMEs and cooperatives. The funding allocation to DSTIA also includes transfers to public entities in the province, and these are as follows. The Free State Gambling, Liquor and Tourism Authority will receive 117.775 million in the coming financial year, 124.253 million and 131.087 million respectively in the outer years of the MTF. The Free State Development Corporation is allocated an amount of 47.516 million for the coming financial year, 45.726 million and 48.241 million in the outer 2 years respectively. The allocation includes transfers to the Malutia Pufung Special Economic Zone. Deputy Speaker, the departments at the centre of government. Our success of provincial government cannot be attained without the foundation of an efficient, effective and accountable public service. The institutions at the centre of our provincial government, namely Office of the Premier, COGTA, Provincial Treasury and the Legislature, will cumulatively spend more than 5.388 billion over the 2019 MTF. In the Office of the Premier, Honourable Premier, we must be inspired by the challenge from Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, namely that if your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough. Our dreams and vision for the Free State must be big and bold enough to deliver a hopeful and prosperous future to the next generation. The Office of the Premier is allocated the sum of 625.682 million for the new financial year, 651.631 million in 2020-21 and 685.442 million in 2021-22. The budget caters for, amongst others, the local and international bursary program, Free State Training and Development Institute, community development workers, provincial planning, monitoring and evaluation, legal and corporate services, communication and ICT functions, as well as intergovernmental relations. On COGTA, our local government sphere of government is the coal face of service delivery and the first link with our people. Honourable Gwabani, former Namibian President Sam Nujoma, summarized the importance of service delivery to our communities when he said, "The right to vote would be a sham if the representatives whom the people vote into office do not deliver in respect of their promises of a better life, provision of electricity and clean water." We must equally execute our constitutional and legislative obligations in respect of traditional affairs in the Free State. In the forthcoming financial year, COGTA must finalize the standardization of tools of trade for traditional leaders for all provinces. It must also proceed with the implementation of agreed upon projects and programs, including the infrastructure development. MTF allocation of COGTA is as follows: 456.135 million in 2019-20, 478.994 million in 2020-21, and 499.918 million in 2021-22. Amongst this, the budget also makes provision for support to the Back to Basics program, municipal support program, including interventions and support for water laboratories in municipalities. Key stakeholders like COGTA, SALGA and Treasury will continue to explore viable options of addressing the governance and financial sustainability challenges of municipalities, municipal debt, including outstanding debt owed to water boards and ESCOM, as well as infrastructure and service delivery challenges. More specifically, COGTA and Treasury will be escalating our work in respect of the development of financial recovery plans for affected municipalities. Provincial Treasury, Deputy Speaker, our budget makes provision for sustainable resource management, the strengthening of financial governance at provincial and local government level, asset and liability management, and our municipal support program. Over the MTF, Treasury is allocated 367.624 million in the new financial year, 372.693 million in 2020-21, and 388.975 million in the outer financial year. Honourable Speaker, we continue to derive value from our research work. Treasury, together with our key partners and stakeholders such as the Central University of Technology and the University of the Free State, hosted the second Provincial Research Colloquium during 2018. Substantial progress has been made with the establishment of the research repository between provincial government, the CUT and the University of the Free State. The first phase of our pilot project on gender-responsive budgeting has been completed. The findings have largely confirmed that much work remains to be done to mainstream gender equality into all core processes and programs of provincial government. We will be sharing these findings in more detail with both the Executive Council and Legislature. The latest provincial and local government audit outcomes emphasize the need to escalate our work to improve and strengthen our financial management environments. As a result, we implemented a different approach to our Fraud Awareness Week in 2018. Our engagements were expanded to include sessions with service providers as well as direct engagement with audit committees of all departments and municipalities. We remain appreciative of the cooperation and support we receive from the Office of the Auditor General and the implementation of the enabling legislation that will strengthen and broaden the mandate of the Auditor General through the Public Audit Amendment Act of 2018. On the Legislature, Deputy Speaker, our legislature must be enabled and resourced to execute its constitutional mandate effectively. The legislature receives the following funding over the MTF period: 266.242 million in 2019-20, 285.521 million in 2020-21, and 289.197 million in 2021-22. The budget allocation provides for, amongst others, the funding of political parties represented in the legislature and the provincial party political fund, the functions of the committee system, participation in the NCOP, public participation in education initiatives, as well as support of the legislature's financial and administrative services. Additional funding allocated relates to the modernization project that the legislature should be initiating in the new financial year. Deputy Speaker, we appreciate the input we received for our Budget Tips campaign. We acknowledge the input and demands around 30-day payments, continued support to SMMEs, including the 30% subcontracting in line with preferential procurement, improved financial governance of departments and municipalities, the implementation of consequence management, the additional assistance in respect of implementation of MSCOA and CSD in municipalities, advocating for more agri-parks and increasing ECD subsidies. The provincial budget makes the required resource allocations possible, whilst the strengthening of our governance processes require all of our cooperation. I wish to acknowledge and appreciate the role of the Premier and Executive Council, supported by the Director General, HODs and CFOs in the preparation of this budget. Our appreciation also goes to the Chairperson and members of the Public Accounts and Finance Committee for the further engagements we will have on the budget. I table the following documents for consideration by the House: the 2019 Appropriation Bill with its explanatory memorandum, the estimates of provincial revenue and expenditure, a copy of the provincial budget speech, and the People's Guide to the Budget. In conclusion, Deputy Speaker, let me share with the House the sentiments of former Presidents of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta. I ask you to dedicate yourselves to the memory of those who have gone before us and to those who must follow us. I ask you to resolve to put aside all selfish desires and to strain every ounce of muscle and brain to building a nation which shall honor our dead, inspire our living, and prove a proud heritage for those who are yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC, with your budget speech. May I ask you, Honorable MEC, what do you propose?
Deputy Speaker, I propose that the bill be referred to the Public Accounts and Finance Committee for further consideration.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Any discussion on the matter? Any objection? Therefore, is approved. The bill stands referred to the Committee on Public Accounts and Finance. Honorable members, this brings us to the end of today's business. Let me thank the Premier and her executive, members of the legislature present, all heads of departments, the staff of the legislature and treasury, and also the municipal managers who are present were acknowledged. The House shall now adjourn. I'm not sure if there are any announcements. None. Okay, thank you. The House shall now adjourn until Friday, the 22nd March 2019 at 10 o'clock.
Momamedi wa tshebeletso ya mantlha sebeletso ka hare ho Freistata le nya motheo FM CUTFM Supatsela FM Dihlabeng FM Motheo FM Rock FM Setsoto FM Naledi FM kwa radio le lentswe FM sealamo ya sa go sa sela ha ke boetsa hape ke a gutla ke tlo bua le wena ke o hlalosetse ka malwa tseo e lo reng mme wa rona o ile a di hlalosa tsatsing la ka jeno e leng yena mme Elzabe Rockman e leng yena mme lo reng o fana ka puo ya ditekanyetso provinseng ya Freistata bakeng sa selemo sa dikete tse 2019 le dikete tse 2020 la ka lebitso ke Mokwena Mohlophehi ke champion tsatsing la ka jeno sealamoyeng sa hao ha re le ko le fela ka pelenyana tseo mme a ileng a di bua e be re khona hore re khutlele ka hare re tla qala ka seo mme a ileng a bua ka sona e leng ho leboha batho bohle ba teng kwano tsatsing la ka jeno o ile a qala ka ho leboha honorable speaker honorable premier wa rona ya ba o leboha ditho tsa executive council di a leboha ditho tsa Freistata legislature direct general hloho ya lefapha kaofela batho ba teng kwano ka nnete o ile a ba leboha haholo ba hlaeletseng ka mahetla a santsa leboha le wena hohle mo leng teng mo ahi wa Freistata mme Elzabe o ile a isa diteboho ho matitjhere le baithuti ba ileng banka karolo competitioneng ya moqoqo wa selemo le selemo dikolo tse a ileng a bua ka tsona tse le reng di mmalwa tse ileng tsa kenela ile ya ba sekolo sa St Bernard Bloemfontein ya ba Peritona ka Helbron setjhaba se maketse botshabelo Wongalethu ka Bethuli le re lebohile e fumanahalang mane motseng wa Smithfield Merokmedi o ile a hlalosa hore Freistata ka nnete e na le tlhokeho ya mosebetsi haholo mme e dutse diperesenteng tse 32 felwane robong kotareng ya bone ya selemo sa 2018 mo e leng hore batho ba bomme ke bona ba hlokang mosebetsi haholo ho feta batho ba bontate ke batjha ba fetang diperesente tse 50 provinseng ya Freistata be le reng bana le tlhokeho ya mosebetsi re sentse re kenyeleditse le naha ya Afrika Borwa ke tseo tse mme a ntseng a di hlalosa letsatsing la ka jeno mme o tswetse pele ka hore ke batho ba bangata provinseng ba phelang ka tshotleho le ho hloka dijo kapa ho kgona ho reka dijo tse ka tlasa 527 mme ho a bonahala hore ka nnete tlala e iphile matla provinseng ya Freistata empa ele mmuso wa Freistata ba tla sebetsa ka matla ho tlosa tlala eno e teng ke ka ho re leng kwano bakeng sa ditekanyetso boletsatsing lena la ka jeno ka Garib Dam puong ya hae mme Elzabe Rockman o itse selemong sena sa 2019 moruo wa Freistata o lokiseditse hore o tle o hole haholo o hlalositse hore letona la tsa ditjhelete naheng ya Afrika Borwa o ile a hlalosa nakong ya puisano ya naha kaofela hore maikemisetso ke hore ba tlise diphetoho diprovinseng ka ho fapana Afrika Borwa o boetse a hlalosa hore Freistata e fuwe tjhelete ka loka 418 billion mo ileng hore mme o re tjhelete ena e nyolohile ka diperesente tse 4.2 papisong le nako e fetileng tjhelete eno ke 24,418 rands ho tsa thuto o hlalositse hore ka nnete infrastructure ya dikolo e tla fumana nyollelo ya ditjhelete ka lebaka la diphephetso tse teng dikolong ka ho fapana naheng ya Afrika Borwa lefapheng la tsa Freistata o ile a fumana hore ka nnete o ile a fana ka tjhelete e ba tlo fana ka tjhelete e kalo ka 77,466 million selemong sa 2019-2020 a boela hape a hlalosa hore lefapha le tla boela le fumane tjhelete e kalo ka 188,071 rands millions bakeng sa ditlhoko tse teng selemong sena sa 2019-2020 mme hape ha re sheba tjhelete kaofela e tla fuwa lefapha la thuto Freistata ke 833,485 million rands naheng ena ya Afrika Borwa provinceng ya Freistata. Mmamedi, mme Elizabeth Rockman o ile a ama tse ding tse mmalwa lefapheng la bophelo bo botle, o buile ka batho ba phelang ka kokwanahloko ena ya HIV le AIDS hammoho le batho ba phelang ka lefu la TB. O tswetse pele ka hore ditekanyetso tsa ditjhelete di theohetse fatshe bakeng sa batho ba tshwerweng ke TB, mme lefapha le tla fumana tjhelete e kalo ka 498,713. Mme o boetse a hlalosa hore lefapha la sepolesa ditsela le dipalangwang le tla fumana tjhelete e kalo ka 40,535,000. Hona jwale ka hobane hona le tsentseng di etsahala ka hare, re tlo boela re boele ka hare, mme nna le wena re tla boela re kgutla hape seyalemoyeng sa hao sa selehae hohle mo mametseng sena seyalemoya tsatsing la kajeno maemo a lehodimo a dumetse sentse ke tshokera re ya leboha re kwano Garib Dam ka hara province ya Freistata masepaleng wa Garib mo eleng hore ke Free State Provincial Budget Speech 2019-2020. Nna ke Mokoena champion mohlophehi hohle mo mametseng o le teng tsatsing la kajeno ke re tla boela re kgutlela ho wena imatahanye ka seyalemoya sa hao tshebeletsong e o e ratang. Ke lebohile.
Songai kat ale yetsi interview.
Momamedi ha re sheba nako metsotso e tsoroma hantle ho ile 17 ka mora hora ya boraro. Ka nnete mme o ile a fana ka puisano e matla letsatsing la kajeno, mme ke a tshepa le dumela hore le wena hohle mo le nteng o natefetswe ke puisano ena e mme a bileng le yona tsatsing la kajeno e leng yena mme Elizabeth Rockman tsatsing lena la kajeno provinceng ena ya Freistata. Ha ke sheba kwano batho ba bangata ba teng kwano, mme ba entse bonnete ba hore ba yatla ba tla ka bongata bona ba haesale hore ba tle ba tlo utlwa hore mme o tshwere difeng tsatsing la kajeno ho tswa mmusong wa rona wa Freistata. Ka nnete ke a tshepa le dumela hore le wena o kgotsofetse hohle mo le nteng letsatsing la kajeno ho bona hore ka nnete Freistata ya hola ebile le ditjhelete di tla ba teng ho tlo thusa Freistata hore ebe province e tswelang pele e bang number 1 ka hare ho di province tse teng kaofela. Ke bone hore ka nnete hloho ya lefapha le yona e teng kwano e leng yena Ntate Godfrey Mahlatsi ke mong wa batho be le reng ke tlo bua le yena tsatsing la kajeno. Ba teng batho ba bangata be ke tlo bua le bona le yena mme Elizabeth Rockman ha ba ne ke kgona hore ke mo fumane ka pelenyana ke tla etsa bonnete ba hore ke a mo atumetsa kwano o ko tlo utlwa a ipuele le wena ka kotloloho o le seyalemoyeng sa hao seo se ratang. Hopola ke hasa ka kotloloho dialemoyeng tse 10 ka hara province ya Freistata. Ke kgatlola ka la pele ka nnete ke hasa ho di radio station tsena tse fapaneng tsa selehae provinceng ena ya Freistata, mme ke lebohela monyetla ona o e le re mmuso wa Afrika Borwa o nne ya ona ke ntse ke sa tsamaye ke le mong ke tsamaya le yona National Community Radio Week le province ya Freistata ka kotloloho. Re kwano Garib Dam ha re ka sheba fela ka pelenyana Garib Dam mmamedi wa tshebeletso ena ya Freistata. Ka nnete re ka sheba ka pelenyana fela empa pele mono ke na le puisano e tlo ba teng ka pelenyana hona jwale re ke re utlo re tshwere ntate mang ho tswa ho kae e ka ba yena o re buela ditaba difeng. Hopola hore ke ntse ke hasa ka kotloloho ke le Garib Dam letsatsing lena la kajeno ke etsa bonnete ba hore ke o neeletsa tsona ka kotloloho. Nna ke Mokoena champion ke tjhoka metla matsatsi ke re ke moshana qoqolo sing mo maqheku qoqa moqoqo o a bolang tsatsing la kajeno ke di wotla ka kotloloho. Nako metsotso a we sheba tsona hantle ho ile 19 ka mora hora ya boraro ke tlo ba le puisano ka pelenyana e ke tlo ba le yona ba ntse ba lokisa kwano ba hlophisi baka ba re Mokoena champion mathale tsona nyolosa le tsona o theosele tsona boy mathale tsona ntwana puisana tsatsing lena la kajeno e le la bobedi bekeng di matha ha monate ke a tshepa le dumela ntse o natefetswe ebile o jele dijo tse monate mo leng teng wa kgotsofala wa ba hantle nna le wena re be mmoho letsatsing lena la kajeno ke bona hore ka nnete ke tlo ba le chief director ya ke mmona ke ntse a tumela ke a bona ntse a tumela chief director kwano o etsa bonnete ba hore o tlo ba le nna ke chief director ya Suitable Resource o tlo ba le nna ke ntate Pakiso le bone ke tlo bua le yena letsatsing la kajeno ke re utlo re yena o di bona jwang tsena tse bileng teng tsatsing la kajeno haholo ntlheng ena ya puisano yena ya tsa ditekanyetso tsa ditjhelete bakeng sa selemo sena sa 2019 le selemo sa 2020 sentse ke na le yena kwano santsa a tumetse ke bue le yena ntate Pakiso le bone letsatsing la kajeno ntate wa ka le kae
ke teng le kae ntate Champ
re iphiletse ka mohau ke thabela ho bona ka morana ko etelele man
no ke nnete ngwaneso
ke a le bua ntate wa ka jwale ke batla ho tseba jwalo ka ha o le chief director ya Suitable Resources wena puisano ya mme we bone jwang bakeng sa letsatsi la kajeno
ke a leboha ntate Champ le ha ke nke monyetla ko lebohe mmoho le bamamedi mo hae ha ke correct fela something ke sustainable resource management yes okay ha ke nke monyetla ona ka speed fela ke hlalose ka bokgutshwanyane hore na re di bona jwang di allocations tsa di budget. First of all, how ka check a budget ya rona, we tried by all means to address challenges that are in our departments. In the main, we have tried to allocate more money in the Department of Education. We have also allocated a lot of money in the Department of Health. These are the core departments in terms of trying to ensure that we continue ho ruta bana ba rona le ho provide bophelo bo botle in our respective communities. So, but the allocations also address issues relating to economy, wherein a lot of money was allocated to our Department of Police, Roads and Transport. We have also allocated a lot of money in the Department of Agriculture, as well as Department of Economic Development and Public Works. I'm sure you will recall that Public Works is very important in terms of ensuring that we assist and Tontsabo, the EPWP. Then lastly, we have also allocated money in our governance department, Tselungoriki Department of the Premier, Department of Treasury, as well as Legislature, just to ensure that as the government will remain accountable.
Jwale ntate Pakiso le bone e ka ba ha o sheba ho ya ka mo mme a di beileng ka teng ditekanyetso tsena papisong le selemo se fitileng o ka re phapanye o kae?
Ka bokgutshwanyane, you will recall that in the budget process there are always reforms. So in the main, we tried to, the difference between the current budget and last year's budget, it's mainly on what we have done in terms of trying to address the challenges that are in our Department of Education. We have put a lot of money to address the challenges that they had with regard to over expenditure. Then from there has been a lot of reforms in terms of the conditional grants that are managed by different departments. So that is the main difference between last year's budget and current year's budget. But apart from that, the allocation for the province has increased. And the other thing that was of a significant importance was that last year we experienced a lot of cuts, but this year we did not really experience a lot of cuts from the national government. So that is the main difference between the last year's budget and the current year's budget.
Okay, ntate le bone e re ke fete fela ka potso ya go qetela ebile e se potso hakalo ke hloka hore o mphe molaetsa e le reng o fa moahi wa Freistata jwalo ka chief director ya Sustainable Resource Management ebe wena ya re fa molaetsa o ka reng ho moahi wa Freistata?
Molaetsa wa ka haholoholo o tla ipapisa le budget e re thebotseng. Ntho e re kopang re tlo kopa baahi ba rona ba Freistata ba supporte budget enana. Hobane budget e ke budget ya bona. Budget enana e entse bonnete ba hore e akaretsa ditlhoko tsa motho o mong le o mong wa Freistata. My last message ke hore as the Free Staters and jwalo ka batho ba South Africa re a tseba hore na re tshwantse re etseng ha re yeng re lo vota come May. Ke a leboha.
Ke lebohile haholo ntate Pakiso le bone ka nako ya hao ke re ka nnete nna ke thabile haholo tsatsing la kajeno ha ke buile le wena.
No, ke lebile haholo ntate Champ ha mmoho le bamamedi mo hae. Ke a leboha.
Ke a leboha. Mmamedi e ne le yena ntate Pakiso le bone ho tswa ho Sustainable Resource Management province ena ya Freistata. O ka utlwa hore ka nnete naha ena ya Afrika Borwa e sebetsa ka matla ho etsetsa hore di province tsa rona kaofela di fumane monyetla wa hore di sebedise tjhelete ka tsela e nepahetseng bakeng sa moahi e mong le e mong ya teng naheng ena ya Afrika Borwa. Haholo re bua ka Freistata. Freistata ke nngwe ya di province tse lo reng ka nnete e sebetsa ka matla. Momamedi wa seyalemoya sa selehae hohle mo leng teng ke re ha ke bua ka seyalemoya sa selehae ke di kenyeleditse di le 10 jwalo ka ke hlalositse hore ke hasa ka kotloloho ho tsona di le 10 province ena ya Freistata. Hona jwale ke tlo bua le e mong wa batho ba teng ka kwano e leng yena Osborne Motlhabane ke tlo utlwa hore yena o reng jwalo ka moeti ya bileng teng tsatsing lena la kajeno o di bone jwang o di utlwile jwang. Ntate Osborne le kae?
Re phetse re teng le kae ngwaneso?
Re ipheletse mane ya ke thabile haholo ho bona o le mong wa batho ba teng ka kwano letsatsing la kajeno. Maikutlo a hao fela ka sena se etsahalang mo tsatsing le ka.
Ke re thabile haholo jwalo ka setjhaba sa Freistata. Ke buella batho ka bophara. Haholo le batho ba semmusong. Ntho e ke thabetseng haholo ka puo ya letona Elsabi Rockman. Ke ha o no mametse puo ya hae o na tlile a le consistent ho tloha ho the State of the Nation address ka President Ramaphosa a fitla nka hape ho tswa ho State of the Province address ka mo premier wa rona mme Sising Ntombela. Ntho ke thabetseng haholo jwale ka Freistata e le province e batlang e le pele haholo ka tsena tsa thuto. Ho bona etse hore the lion's share of the budget will go to education, which is a very good indicator. Yeah, we are consistent to say because of the performance, province in the educational space, a lot of resources will be channeled to education, from building of schools, infrastructure development in education, teacher material support. Internet of Things in schools. Remember that e-schools is also very important along issues of ICT. So the lion's share will go into supporting the infrastructure, ICT, learner material, and capacity building for teachers, but also infrastructure, schools and toilets and so on, selling in rural areas. So kitabila holo bontsha hore ho bona la hore province of Freistata enka taba ya thuto ba inkella hlong haholo wa bona la hore di ditekanyetso tse ngata di tla ya hona lefapheng lena la thuto.
Ke lebile haholo Momamedi ke e mong wa baahi ba province ya Freistata letsatsing la kajeno ya wa bonahala hore ka nnete ntate Osborne o lahlana a mamela ka kelehloko. Ke thabile haholo le nna ntate Osborne bona hore ka nnete lefapha la tsa thuto Freistata kwa le tlo fumana tjhelete e ngata ha mmoho le lefapha lena la sepolesa ditsela le dipalangwang le lefapha la thuto. Nna ke thabile haholo seo o ka se fang moahi wa Freistata jwalo ka ho le moahi wa Freistata e le hona ho mo fa tshepo hore budget ena ya selemo sena e fapane le ya dilemo tse fitileng mme ya selemo sena e beterenyana mme wa bona la province ya Freistata e ya pele ha e morao. Ke efeng tshepo o ka e fang moahi wa Freistata?
Ntho e re ka etsang jwalo ka setjhaba ke ho fa mmuso monyetla diphoso di bile teng ke anana le premier la bua hana bula legislature selemong sena hore ha re sheba dilemo tse 20 a fitileng ra amohela hore diphoso di ile tsa ba teng, mme ke nako ya hore re emise matsoho le rona re be le ho ikitlaetsa jwalo ka setjhaba ho thusa mmuso ho lokisa diphoso tseo tse etsahetseng. Tsela e sa le telele re tla e tsamaya. Jwale ke selemo sa dikgetho sena se re leng ho sona. Ka kgwedi ena ya May hua dikgethong, motho o mong le o mong a exercise the democratic right to take part in national and provincial government elections tsa selemo sena, hore re tle re be mmuso hore o be accountable ho ditshepiso tse ba di entseng. Jwale ke a kgothaletsa hore motho o mong le o mong ha re ya dikgethong nka maikitlaetso a ho lwena lo kgetha selemong sena hore hosane tle re be mmuso hore o be accountable ho phethisa ditshepiso tse ba di entseng.
Wa tla wa bua taba ya bohlokwa momamedi wa Motheo FM, CUT FM, Mosupatsela FM, Ditlhabeng FM, Mozolo FM, The Rock FM, Setsoto FM, Naledi FM, Qwaqwa Radio le Lentswe FM. Ha o buile moahi hore ho bohlokwa hore re ye re lo kgetha ka nnete le wena o lokela mo leng teng o eme ka maoto o ye o kgethe hobane o na le tokelo ya ho kgetha jwalo ka moahi wa Afrika Borwa. Ntate Osborne ke le buile haholo letsatsing la kajeno sentse ke re ho wena mahlohonolo o tsebe ha o le mona o emetse moahi e mong le mong wa Freistata, mme ke le buile haholo ho ba le wena tsatsing la kajeno. Ke batla fela o njwetse fela mantswe hao a o qetela ho kgothaletsa motho hore a lo kgetha. Ke batla hle re ye hatelle ke afe?
Jwale ka ke buile hore ha ho na molemo wa hore ha o tseba hore ha wa nka monyetla o lo kgetha ho sane ha ona le diphoso, ha o tsebe o ka ba le lentswe hobane ha wa kgetha. Mara ha o ile wa ema wa lo kgetha hosane ha dintho di sa tsamaye ka tsela eo mmuso o e tshepisitseng, o na le monyetla hore le wena o ka hlahisa lentswe la hao. Jwale ke ka ho ke buang ke re hore re tle re be le lentswe ko ya dikgethong, re lo kgetha mmuso o tla kenyang tshebetsong ntho tseo di tshepisitseng.
Ke yona ya bohlokwa eo ke neng ke batla hore o tlo o bone hore ka nnete ha o kgetha mo mamedi hohle mo leng teng o tla be o ikitlaetsa o etsa bonnete ba hore tsohle tseo di batlang di lokile. Ke le buile haholo ho ba le wena letsatsing lena la kajeno hohle mo leng teng sealamoeng sa hao. Ka nnete re sebeditse ha monate, mme ke le buile haholo ke nke nako ena le motsotso ke le bohedi ya le moya tsohle tse le reng ka nnete di netseng kile motsotso le nako ho etsa bonnete ba hore moahi wa province ya Freistata o fumana tsena ka kotloloho sealamoyeng sohle mo leng teng. Sentse ke tshokere kaofela momamedi wa Motheo FM ke le buile, momamedi wa CUT FM le wena ke le buile, Mosupatsela FM ke le buile, momamedi wa Ditlhabeng FM ke a o leboha le wena momamedi wa Mozolo FM ke le bohe, momamedi wa The Rock FM, momamedi wa Setsoto FM, momamedi wa Naledi FM, momamedi wa Qwaqwa Radio le wena momamedi wa Lentswe FM. Ke re le nakong e tlang re tla buela re kopana hape. Nna ke Mokoena Champion on Radio ke teng tsatsing la kajeno. Sentse ke tshokere ke le buile haholo ka tshebedisano mmoho le wena, sentse ke khutlela diphaposing tsa kgatso hobane metsotso ya ntumella e 27 pele hora ya bone. Nna le wena ha re bile re kopana hape nakong e tlang. Moahi wa Freistata ikitlaetse o etse bonnete ba hore wa ya o lo kgetha ka nako ya dikgetho. Ke le buile haholo ho fihlela re kopana nakong e tlang.